Our thoughts, words, and actions often overshadow silence. It seems like we're perpetually involved in speaking, texting, or social media posting. Our lives are brimming with endless chatter. But Buddhism enlightens us that silence can be more than just a moment of quiet. It can profoundly change us. It urges us to comprehend the strength of silence and to use it judiciously, particularly in 5 crucial situations. This exploration of Buddhist teachings will guide us in understanding the significance of maintaining silence in these 5 situations. These teachings offer deep insights that can motivate us to live a more mindful, harmonious, and purposeful life. Let's dive into these ancient pieces of wisdom, embrace the calmness of silence, and find solutions to our life problems. Silence is not merely the absence of noise, it's a profound state of being. As the renowned Vietnamese Zen master, Thich Nhat Hanh said, silence is essential. We need silence as much as plants need light. If our minds are cluttered with words and thoughts, we lack space. Buddhism acknowledges this space and encourages its cultivation in various aspects of life. Silence is a gateway to inner peace, mindfulness, and self-awareness. It gives us the opportunity to listen not only to the outside world, but more importantly, to the whispers of our hearts and minds. It's a potent tool that can alter the way we interact with the world and navigate life's challenges. As we embark on this journey through the 5 situations where Buddhism recommends silence, let's remember that silence is not about being passive or indifferent. It's about being present, aware, and responsive in a thoughtful and measured way. It's about choosing our words carefully and knowing when not to speak. It's about understanding that sometimes the most powerful response is silence. So let's explore these 5 situations and discover the transformative power of silence. Staying present, focused, and intentional is the key. Let's delve into these situations, comprehend their importance, and perceive silence as a tool for empowerment. Always maintain silence when you're consumed by anger. This is sound advice because anger is a potent and frequently destructive emotion. When we're engulfed in anger, our words and actions are propelled by this intense emotion, which can lead to unforeseen repercussions. Buddhism enlightens us that anger stems from attachment, aversion, and ignorance. When we become overly attached to our desires or aversions, and when we overlook the impermanence and interconnectedness of everything, anger can seize control. In such instances, silence is a potent antidote. Silence provides us the space to pause and introspect on the root of our anger. It enables us to step back and observe our emotional responses without instant judgment or expression. Through silence, we can practice mindful breathing and self-inquiry, gaining insight into the root causes of our anger. Furthermore, silence acts as a barrier against the harsh words and actions that often accompany anger. It prevents us from inflicting harm on others and ourselves. In the silence of restraint, we can safeguard our relationships and foster an environment of calm and understanding. There's a story in the Buddhist tradition about 2 arrows. The first arrow symbolizes the initial pain or suffering we experience when something distressing occurs to us. The second arrow symbolizes the suffering we inflict on ourselves through our reaction to the first arrow. By practicing silence when we're angry, we can avoid shooting that second arrow and reduce unnecessary suffering. Let's delve deeper into the wisdom of silence in the face of anger to truly understand this teaching. It's important to explore the nature of anger itself and why Buddhism emphasizes silence as the appropriate response. Anger in Buddhism is often seen as a manifestation of our attachments and aversions. When we desire something intensely or are averse to a particular situation, anger can emerge as a response to the perceived threat to our desires. The attachment to our desires blinds us to the interconnectedness of all things and the impermanence of the world. In the face of anger, silence becomes a sanctuary of self-awareness and reflection. When we're angry, our minds are clouded with emotions, and our thoughts are often irrational and impulsive. In this state, our words and actions can lead to regret and harm, both to ourselves and others. Silence allows us to step back from the immediate intensity of our anger. It provides a buffer between our emotions and our reactions. Instead of lashing out in the heat of the moment, we can take a breath, give ourselves a moment of stillness, and observe the anger without judgment. This practice is rooted in mindfulness and self-awareness, key components of the Eightfold Path. In silence, we can ask ourselves essential questions. Why am I angry? What am I attached to in this situation? What aversion is triggering this anger? These inquiries can lead to profound insights into the root causes of our anger. We may discover that our attachments are unrealistic, that our aversions are based on misunderstandings, or that our expectations are causing our suffering. Moreover, silence serves as a shield that protects us from the consequences of our impulsive words and actions in moments of anger. By opting to remain silent, we can prevent ourselves from uttering words that might injure others or making decisions we might later regret. This helps us to avoid causing harm to others and maintains the health of our relationships. The story of the two arrows beautifully illustrates this point. The first arrow symbolizes the initial pain or suffering we experience when something unpleasant happens to us. This is a part of life, and it's unavoidable. However, the second arrow represents the suffering we inflict on ourselves through our reaction to the first arrow. By reacting to the first arrow with anger, we shoot the second arrow, causing unnecessary suffering. By practicing silence when we're angry, we can learn to handle the first arrow more skillfully. We acknowledge the pain, but we don't exacerbate it with our anger and reactivity. This not only reduces our suffering, but also prevents us from injuring others, fostering a more compassionate and harmonious environment. Silence when we're angry is a call to mindfulness, self-inquiry, and restraint. It empowers us to transform anger into understanding and compassion. By embracing this teaching, we can gradually cultivate emotional resilience and wisdom. The practice of silence when we're angry is not about suppressing our emotions or denying their existence. Instead, it's an invitation to engage with our emotions in a more constructive and mindful way. When we stay silent, we create a space for self-reflection and self-compassion. We acknowledge our anger without judgment and observe it with curiosity. This simple act of paying attention to our emotions can be transformative. In addition to self-awareness, silence also allows us to listen more attentively to others. When we're angry, our focus is often solely on our feelings and perspectives. We may be so wrapped up in our emotions that we fail to hear what the other person is saying or to empathize with their point of view. By choosing silence, we can open our hearts and minds to a deeper understanding of the situation and the people involved. The power of silence in the face of anger lies in its ability to break the cycle of reactivity. When we respond with anger to a situation, we often trigger a chain reaction of negative emotions and actions. Our anger may provoke defensiveness or counter-anger in others, leading to a destructive cycle of conflict. Silence interrupts this pattern and offers an opportunity for a more peaceful and constructive resolution. Ultimately, the practice of silence in the face of anger leads to greater emotional balance and equanimity. It empowers us to let go of grudges and resentments, making room for forgiveness and understanding. By cultivating this practice, we move closer to the ideal of being free from the suffering caused by anger, which is one of the central aims of Buddhism. Always maintain silence when you hear gossip and slander. This teaching emphasizes the importance of mindful speech and the consequences of engaging in harmful communication. Gossip and slander are like poisoned arrows that can harm not only the person being spoken about, but also the one who speaks. In Buddhism, right speech is a fundamental ethical guideline emphasizing the importance of speaking truthfully, kindly, and beneficially. Gossip and slander violate these principles and can create disharmony and suffering. Choosing silence in the face of such talk aligns with the principles of right speech and promotes a more compassionate and harmonious society. Gossip and slander often stem from negative emotions like jealousy, resentment, or a desire to harm someone's reputation. Engaging in such speech not only perpetuates negative emotions within ourselves, but also spreads negativity to others. It can damage relationships and trust. Silence in these situations serves multiple functions. Firstly, it prevents us from participating in harmful speech. By deciding not to engage in gossip or slander, we evade the moral and karmic repercussions of lying or causing harm to others. Secondly, silence provides us an opportunity to reflect on why we're gossiping or slandering. Are we doing this out of jealousy, anger, or fear? Such self-reflection can lead to personal growth and transformation. Also, choosing silence can cause those who are gossiping to reconsider their words. When we refuse to participate in or listen to such conversations, it sends a message that we don't condone such behavior. This non-participation might inspire others to reconsider the impact of their words, and might even discourage them from continuing their negative speech. Gossip and slander are prevalent in our society, and their damaging effects are well known. In Buddhism, these behaviors are seen as violations of the right to speech, one of the components of the Eightfold Path. Right speech is about using our words mindfully and ethically, promoting honesty, kindness, and beneficial communication. The prohibition against gossip and slander is rooted in the understanding of the power of words. Words can shape our reality, influence our emotions, and impact the lives of others. When we engage in gossip or slander, we often do so out of negative emotions, such as envy, resentment, or anger. These emotions can cloud our judgment and lead us to lie or exaggerate the faults of others. The damage caused by gossip and slander is twofold. Firstly, it harms the person being spoken about. False or unkind words can damage their reputation, cause emotional distress, and strain relationships. Secondly, it harms the person speaking. Engaging in negative speech can create negative karmic consequences, leading to suffering in the future. Moreover, it perpetuates negative emotions within the speaker, contributing to their suffering. Choosing silence in the face of gossip and slander is a powerful way to break the cycle of negativity. It is an act of non-participation, a refusal to contribute to the spread of harmful words. This not only aligns with the principles of right speech, but also protects our own karma and emotional well-being. Silence offers us a moment of pause, a chance to reflect on our intentions. When we encounter gossip or slander, we can ask ourselves why we are drawn to engage in such talk. Are we doing it out of envy, to feel superior, or to harm someone? This self-inquiry can be transformative, as it brings awareness to our own negative emotions and the suffering they cause. Furthermore, choosing silence can send a powerful message to others. When we refuse to participate in harmful speech, it conveys our disapproval of such behavior. Our silence can inspire others to think twice about the impact of their words, and may even discourage them from continuing with their negative speech. In a broader sense, silence in the face of gossip and slander promotes a culture of kindness, respect, and empathy. It encourages us to look beyond the faults and shortcomings of others and focus on their positive qualities. It fosters understanding and compassion, contributing to the creation of a more harmonious and caring community. The practice of silence in the face of gossip and slander is an embodiment of the Buddhist ideals of right speech and compassion. It empowers us to use our words more mindfully, protect our well-being, and contribute to a more positive and harmonious society. Always maintain silence during conflicts. Conflict is an unavoidable part of human interactions, but the way we approach it can significantly impact its outcome. Buddhism encourages us to choose silence as a response to conflict, emphasizing the role of mindfulness, compassion, and understanding in conflict resolution. Conflicts often stem from differences in opinions, values, or interests. They can lead to heated arguments, hurtful words, and emotional distress. In such instances, silence can act as a calming salve, allowing us to step back, reflect, and respond with wisdom and compassion. Silence amid conflict is not about avoiding or suppressing our feelings. It's about creating a space for active listening, empathy, and finding common ground. By opting for silence, we allow ourselves and others to express themselves without fear of judgment or escalation. Moreover, silence enables us to break away from the cycle of reactivity. When we respond to conflict with anger or defensiveness, we often escalate the situation, making it more difficult to resolve. Silence disrupts this cycle, providing a pause for reflection and a mindful response. Conflict is a typical part of human relationships and interactions. Whether it's a disagreement with a family member, a clash with a colleague, or a dispute with a friend, conflict is a frequent experience. How we approach and navigate conflicts can significantly influence our relationships and personal well-being. In Buddhism, silence is advocated during conflicts for its potential to result in a more mindful and compassionate resolution. Let's explore further into the wisdom of silence amidst conflict. Conflict often emerges from differences in opinions, values, or interests. When these differences escalate into arguments, disputes, or even physical confrontations, they can result in emotional distress, damage to relationships, and negative consequences for all parties involved. Buddhism acknowledges that conflicts can be particularly challenging as they stir up strong emotions and cloud our judgment. Silence during conflict doesn't mean avoidance or suppression of our feelings. Instead, it's a deliberate choice to create a space for active listening, empathy, and understanding. It's a moment of pause that allows both sides to express their thoughts and feelings without the fear of immediate criticism or escalation. In this space, we can recognize our own emotions and reactions, as well as those of the other party. This pause serves as a potent tool for active listening, a skill often overlooked but crucial for effective communication. When we are silent, we can fully concentrate on what the other person is saying, understand their viewpoint, and empathize with their feelings. This compassionate listening can defuse the situation and pave the way for a more productive dialogue. Moreover, silence provides a chance for self-reflection. In the heat of conflict, we may get caught up in our emotions, making it hard to see the bigger picture or consider the long-term consequences of our actions. By choosing silence, we give ourselves a moment to reflect on the root causes of the conflict, our role in it, and potential solutions. Another aspect of silence in conflict resolution is the prevention of further escalation. When we respond to conflict with anger, defensiveness, or counterattacks, we often perpetuate the cycle of negativity. This can make it increasingly difficult to find common ground or reach a resolution. Silence intervenes in this cycle, offering a pause that encourages a more measured and considerate response. In the practice of silence during conflict, we are encouraged to set aside our own need to be right or to win the argument. Instead, we prioritize the well-being of the relationship and the broader goals of mutual understanding and resolution. This reflects the Buddhist principle of non-attachment, which suggests that our clinging to ego-driven desires can lead to suffering and hinder our path to enlightenment. The power of silence in conflict resolution is evident in its ability to foster empathy, compassion, and compromise. It encourages us to look beyond our immediate emotions and consider the feelings and needs of the other person. By doing so, we create an environment where both parties can express themselves, find common ground, and work together towards a solution. Silence during conflict is a practice deeply rooted in the Buddhist principles of mindfulness, compassion, and non-attachment. It's a powerful tool that allows us to navigate conflicts with more wisdom, empathy, and understanding. By embracing this practice, we contribute to resolving conflicts in a way that preserves relationships, minimizes harm, and promotes harmony. Always stay quiet when you witness others suffering. Compassion is at the heart of Buddhism, and this teaching emphasizes the power of silence as a way to express compassion and offer comfort to those who are suffering. When we encounter the suffering of others, our immediate response may be to offer words of comfort or advice. However, Buddhism suggests that in many cases, silence is a more profound and compassionate response. Suffering is an inherent part of human existence and can take various forms, including physical pain, emotional distress, or the challenges of daily life. Witnessing the suffering of others is a common experience in our interconnected world. Whether it's a friend going through a difficult breakup, a family member facing a health crisis, or a stranger experiencing hardship, we are frequently confronted with the pain and challenges of others. In such moments, our natural inclination is to offer words of comfort or advice to try to alleviate the suffering we perceive. Buddhism suggests that in many cases, silence is a more profound and compassionate response. This teaching aligns with the principle of right speech, emphasizing the importance of speaking kindly and beneficially in the face of another person's suffering. Silence can be the kindest and most beneficial choice. Silence in times of suffering communicates our presence and empathy. It communicates that we are present to support and listen to the person who is suffering. Even the best-intentioned words can sometimes fail to express the depth of our compassion. On the other hand, silence creates a space for the individual in pain to express their emotions, thoughts, and experiences at their own pace. It provides a sanctuary where they can be heard without judgment. In this silent space, individuals often find comfort and support. Silence shows our respect for the individual's autonomy and ability to navigate their suffering. It acknowledges that not all suffering can be eased with words or advice. Sometimes, the most meaningful gift we can offer is our presence and our capacity to listen deeply. Silence during times of suffering is deeply rooted in the Buddhist principle of compassion. Compassion is not just feeling sympathy for others, it is the active desire to alleviate their suffering. In silence, we offer a different form of compassionate presence. We are there to witness the suffering, offering to share in it, and to provide a safe and non-judgmental space for the person in need. It's important to note that silence is not always the answer, and there may be times when words of comfort or support are appropriate. However, Buddhism encourages us to consider silence as a valid and valuable response to the suffering of others. It reminds us that sometimes the most significant gift we can give is our quiet presence, our empathetic listening, and our willingness to share in the pain of others. Always maintain silence when you are suffering. This teaching recognizes the importance of self-compassion and self-care during difficult times. It encourages us to turn inward and embrace the healing power of silence. In our lives, we all encounter moments of pain, distress, and suffering. Whether it's the loss of a loved one, a personal crisis, or a period of emotional turmoil, suffering is an unavoidable part of the human experience. During these times, our natural response may be to seek comfort and support from others. However, Buddhism reminds us that there are moments when silence, particularly in our suffering, can be deeply healing. Silence during our suffering offers us a safe place for introspection and self-compassion. It provides a space where we can acknowledge our pain without judgment, offering ourselves the same kindness and empathy we might extend to others. In this silence, we can process our emotions, thoughts, and experiences, allowing for healing and growth. Moreover, silence serves as a refuge from the pressure to put on a brave face or to articulate our pain to others. While sharing our suffering with trusted friends or professionals can be essential, there are times when the depths of our pain are beyond words. Silence allows us to be with our suffering without the need to explain, justify, or make sense of it for others. This experience can be liberating, as it grants us the freedom to simply be with our pain, to sit in its presence, and to accept it as a part of our current reality. In silence, we can also connect with our inner strength and wisdom. Buddhism teaches that suffering is a part of life, and that it can be a source of growth and insight. In the quiet of our hearts and minds, we may discover profound truths about ourselves and the nature of suffering. We can explore the impermanence of all things, recognizing that suffering, like all experiences, is transient. We can also come to understand the interconnectedness of life, realizing that our suffering is not isolated, but part of the human condition. This understanding can be a source of comfort and wisdom. Silence in times of suffering is a practice deeply rooted in self-compassion, self-care, and self-discovery. It permits us to respect our pain without judgment, to seek shelter from the pressure to explain, and to connect with our inner power and wisdom. By adopting this teaching, we establish the conditions for healing and personal development. The wisdom of Buddhism provides us with a deep understanding of the transformative power of silence in 5 critical situations: anger, gossip and slander, conflict, witnessing the suffering of others and our own suffering. In these moments, silence serves as a source of mindful compassion and personal growth. Silence is not about being passive or indifferent. It is a deliberate choice to create space to listen, to reflect, and to respond with wisdom and empathy. It aligns with the principles of right speech, compassion, and non-attachment as outlined in the Eightfold Path. By always being silent in these 5 situations, we empower ourselves to transform negative emotions, nurture compassion, and foster understanding. We protect our relationships, minimize harm, and contribute to a more harmonious and connected world. By learning to be present, to listen deeply, and to embrace the healing power of silence, we integrate these teachings into our daily existence. We embark on a journey of self-discovery and personal transformation, moving closer to the ideals of Buddhism, which seek to alleviate suffering, cultivate mindfulness, and awaken to the interconnectedness of all beings. In doing so, we not only find solutions to life's problems, but also uncover a path to inner peace and enlightenment. Silence is essential. We need silence just as much as we need air, just as much as plants need light. If our minds are crowded with words and thoughts, there is no space for us. In the profound silence of these 5 situations, we discover the space we need to live more mindfully, more compassionately, and more authentically.